world will know you as pop stars.
Hello and thanks for your company. We're starting at one of the world's most prestigious events dedicated to photography. This year's RencontresDArles festival puts women front and centre, celebrating their powerful voices, perspectives and stories through photography and art. It's held every summer in the historic city of Arles in southern France. Solène Claus and Olivier Salazar-Winspear take us inside this 56th edition where the female gaze leads the way.
Choreographers, directors and chefs, women of all generations from Quebec's First Nations, placed at the centre of these life-sized images. Artist Caroline Monnet was born to a French father and an Anishinaabe mother, one of Quebec's 11 Indigenous peoples.
The motifs I use are inspired by traditional Anishinaabe motifs from my community.
Her exhibition challenges the colonial view of these women, many of whom were hidden and stigmatized after the Indian Act was passed in Canada in the 19th century.
I wanted to show my mother, my aunts, my sisters and the women around me how beautiful and resilient they are. They're asking to be part of a decision-making process, and it's a right that's been taken away from them for far too long. I think that today that's no longer possible because they're the ones who are going to build tomorrow's society.
The festival's putting women's perspectives in the spotlight this year. It awarded the Caring Women in Motion Prize to photographer Nan Goldin for her body of work and her strong social conscience.
In the 70s and 80s, when I was coming up, men actually said there's no such thing as a good woman photographer, and we've proved them wrong. In fact, women have a kind of empathy and compassion and sensitivity that shows in their work. Well, men have it too sometimes. But it's native to women, I believe.
Over the course of her career, she's documented the New York underground scene, from queer communities to the ravages of AIDS and drug abuse. In Stendhal Syndrome, she captures intimate moments between loved ones in the style of classical paintings and sculptures.
There's this thing about nudity that made you feel the intimacy between her and the people in front of the camera.
It's often quite trashy, but I don't mind that.
There are few people in the world as politically engaged as she is.
Julie Joubert's portraits also reflect this militant attitude. The winner of one of this year's Louis Roederer Foundation prizes, she was applauded for her series documenting new recruits to the all-male Foreign Legion.
I became interested in the army because, for me, it crystallizes something around representations of masculinity, particularly in recent years with the crises we've been experiencing and the escalation of war. I thought it would be appropriate in 2025 to take a look at this subject.
A new perspective on traditional gender roles and a visual deconstruction of society's clichés.
Next then, saddle up for a wild ride in London's West End. A new musical is bringing burlesque and the Wild West to the stage. Burlesque icon Dita Von Teese stars alongside pop favourite Faye Tozer in Diamonds and Dust, complete with high-flying stunts and outlaw glamour. Jennifer Ben-Brahim has more on this bold new take on Americana theatre.
Galloping into London's West End. A show blending cabaret and burlesque, set in America's Wild West. Diamonds and Dust centres around real historical figure Miss Kitty Leroy, one of the Wild West's most notorious card dealers. She ran a gambling den called The Mint in California that exists to this day and is said to be haunted by her ghost.
Kitty Leroy was a show dancer, a show rider, a trick shotter, an outlaw, a gambler. She had quite a few husbands, 5 in total in the end. And I think she died at about 27, so she had a very full life. She was a very forward-thinking woman of her era.
Kitty is played by member of 90s British pop group Steps, Faye Tozer. She is joined on stage by burlesque legend Dita Von Teese. Dita, who also has the Las Vegas residency, plays the gun-toting, wheeler-dealing Lady Luck.
Lady Luck is such a mythological character, but especially being in Vegas and watching how people are with their luck running out and their luck, coming in, and so it was fun to dive into this and base her on some of my favorite. She's very much based on Mae West.
The show features high-stakes stunts, from aerial gun battles to a sear wheel.
I wanted to celebrate what I always viewed America as being. And we are true kind of outlaws of the entertainment world. We don't squarely fit into theater. We don't squarely fit into big touring acts. So I was as outlaws to the entertainment world and enjoying Wild West Americana, let's combine the two and put it on the stage.
The thrilling blend of Old West lore and vintage casino culture is on show at the Emerald Theatre in London until September.
Impressive stuff there. Next, who are the Amaz, the so-called free people and the oldest inhabitants of North Africa? Long misnamed as Berbers by colonial powers, an exhibition at Marseille's Mucem shines a spotlight on their untold stories. Florence Gaillard and Jennifer Ben-Brahim report.
The free person, the meaning behind Amazigh, a people whose origins are still subject to debate. Often referred to as Berbères by European colonials, this ethnic group can be traced back to the Neolithic era, with its people scattered across North Africa.
We go back in time, starting from the caves in the Canary Islands to Egypt, passing through Africa, Niger, Mali. This map is unique in that it has no borders. When we talk about this culture, we are trying to understand it beyond national boundaries, to grasp it across its historical timeline up to the present day.
The exhibition at Marseille's Mucem highlights Amazigh craftsmanship, from jewellery, pottery and textiles, adorned with motifs meant to protect or benefit the wearer, like the shepherd's cloak, whose red eye is meant to ward off evil spirits, or these woven triangles, symbols of fertility.
Behind me are 3 belts, women's woolen belts, linked to rites of passage, to marriage. These belts accompany brides through to childbirth. It's important to understand the significance of the pattern, the pubic triangle. This is a culture where the woman plays a central role, and through her rituals involving rain, for instance, she manages to maintain a harmonious relationship with nature.
For a long time, these women's intricate works were dismissed as local folklore and undervalued. Today, artists are reclaiming these centuries-old practices. Like this henna-tattooed hand by Moroccan artist Farid Belkahia, one of the many treasures on show until the 2nd of November.
British rock giants Oasis have stormed back onto the Manchester stage, kicking off their long-awaited homecoming at Heaton Park. The return of the Gallagher brothers has electrified the city, bringing back the swagger and spirit of 90s Britpop. Caris Garland has more.
The word is on the street. Oasis fever has gripped Manchester. As well as drawing hundreds of thousands of people to their shows at Heaton Park, the Gallagher brothers' homecoming gigs have inspired nostalgia for a time when Mancunian music ruled the airwaves.
Obviously, it's a really musical city in terms of the Gallagher brothers, but obviously you've got the Rosies and the Happy Mondays, and it's all kind of like-minded people.
Many of Manchester's most successful exports were influenced by one 1976 gig at the Free Trade Hall by punk pioneers the Sex Pistols, now etched into city folklore. The Smiths singer Morrissey, the Fall frontman Marquis Smith, and various members of Joy Division were all in attendance. And according to tour guide Ed Glynett, these artists paved Oasis's path to greatness and put the city on the map.
Manchester's got a whole different range of sounds, but I suppose mostly you could say guitar-based rock. Epitomised maybe the best example, of course, being the Smiths.
While the city is dotted with musical landmarks, there's one stop in particular that Oasis fans are keen to make. As youngsters, Liam and Noel used to shop here at Sifter's Records. Its owner, Pete Howard, has even been immortalised as Mr. Sifter in the Oasis song Shaker Maker.
Yeah, they were just regular customers, you know. We only recognised them when the first single came out, Supersonic, and there was a picture of Liam on the front. And we thought, oh, there's the chap that comes in here.
While Britpop's glory days are over, new generation bands like the Red Stains and hip-hop artists like Bugsy Malone help Manchester's music scene live on.
Well, that brings us to the end of today's Arts 24. We'll leave you with an animated film that's become a global sensation. Since its release in June, KPop Demon Hunters has topped worldwide Netflix charts, and the fictional bands featured in the story have dominated music charts. Thanks for watching. See you next time.
It's time. The world will know you as pop stars. But you will be much more than that. You will be hunters.
Hey, this is the men's bathhouse. Get out of here.
They're stealing the souls of our families.
Hello, I'm Annette Young, the host of the 51%. For generations, a woman's place was seen to be in the kitchen. Yet that was not the case when it came to the world of gastronomy, which is why we're here in the south of France to meet two women chefs who, along with others in Paris, are seeking to reshape the industry plate by plate with what they hope will be ingredients for success.
Ma grand-mère, elle aimait bien expliquer que la cuisine n'avait pas de genre.
Personne ne cuisine avec ses organes génitaux, a priori. La compétence, c'est ça qui est la clé.
Je pensais que ce que j'avais vu était grave ou ce que j'avais subi était grave et je me suis rendu compte que c'était 10% de ce qui existait réellement dans la plupart des cuisines.
The 51% on France 24 and France24.com.